This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Good morning, Rabbi. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. We're continuing in Mishna Berura, Daf HaShavua. We're learning Hilchos Tefillin, Siman Lamed Beis. Let's read again, Sif Lamed Aleph. Im Einoi Kosev Mitach HaKsav. If you're not reading from something which is written, Lo Yichtov Al Peh, don't write by heart. She Makra Oisai Acher, where someone else reads it to you, Elam Kein Yafsahu V'Yikra B'Piv, unless you say it again and repeat it with your mouth. So if you're not writing it from something which is written, don't listen to someone else say it to you unless you repeat it in your mouth and unless you repeat it orally. It says that implies when you're writing it from something which is written, you don't have to enunciate it. It's talking about where it's fluent to you. Then we're not afraid you might make a mistake. So writes Magen Avram the El Yarab to answer the Tiksha Mehalaha de Hayoredea B'Sim Reishayin Dalet Sif Beis Arim Pim Gadim Shekain Kavanas HaMagen Avram. Okay, that we have to be talking about where the person is fluent enough that he doesn't have to say it. Many Achronim argue on this psak of the Shulchan Aruch, that when you're writing it for something which is already written, you don't have to say it. And they hold you always have to enunciate it. The reason for that, the Bach writes, the kachi mitzvahs ksivas stam. That is the mitzvah of writing Sefer Torah mezuzos. To Sefer Torah Tfana mezuzos, kadesh shetei kedushas hevel kriyas kol teva v'teva hayotz mipi hakore. There's a concept that by enunciating the words of Torah, that Kedusha is drawn to the letters. When you write them on the cloth, that's a very interesting concept. Many Achronim, who are these many Achronim? The Shar Tzion says, Oilas Tamid, the Bach, the Shar Knes Agdoila, the Gra, they hold there's a certain element of Kedusha, which is Nimshach from the Amira to the cloth. This is all the chachila, but diavad ein nifsal b'chol gavneim loita. But diavad, it's not possible in all situations if you didn't make a mistake. In other words, let's say you did it bal peh. Let's say you did it bal peh, and you didn't enunciate it. So that's really bad. But nevertheless, b'diavad, it's going to work if you don't make a mistake. Let's say someone is saying it to you, and it's shagar b'piv. So you would think you don't have to say it, you still have to say it. Each word before you write it, so you don't make a mistake. Certainly, if you're writing it by heart without someone saying it to you, you need to say the words out. Okay. Sif Lamed Beis. Tarich lahaniach chelek lamala kidei gaga shalamed. You need to leave space above, like the roof of a lamed. So, if you want to know what does that mean, here's a lamed. L'cha hazacharim lashem. Let's make this a little bigger here. Let's bring everyone to the left side today. Okay. So here you have the word lecha. You need to make sure that there's enough space on the top line to be able to house a lamed, and that the lamed you need to leave space on the top line for the sort of the vav on top of the lamed, and that there should be space on top, so that that lamed is mukaf gevil. Okay, let's see what that means. Let's see the Mishna Berura of Katan Kuf Lamed test. Lamala mehashitas, above all the lines, kedei gagal shalamed, like the roof of a lamed. Says Mishna Berura, well, let's say I'm writing very small. Could I then leave less space on top? Meaning, let's say I'm writing very small, and then the roof of the lamed is smaller. So maybe I don't need so much space on top. The Nero Lee says, Mishna Berura, the Hainu Michta Beinani. That is, you have to leave enough space on the top line, on the top of the line, right? So this is the sirtut. You see where the icon is? This is the sirtut. You need to leave space above the sirtut in order that you could put an average size roof of a lamed with mukaf gvil with some space above it. Even if you're writing very small, like in picture Gimel, still you have to leave enough space that you could put the regular size vav of the lamed. Afilu koisrak stav katan, even if you're writing very small. The haloi amru b'mnachas lamed beis kimloi atva de safri. That in Menachas it says you have to leave kedei atva de safri, and the Rishonim explain that means shu kedei lichtov gaga shel lamed hanal v'im isa diyesh chiluk b'zeh ayish shiuram. Now, if you're going to say that there are different shiurim, the efshar lidchos b'dochek dagmar la'arak b'ksav rak b'koisev ksav beinoni, meaning even if there's a chiluk which shiur it is, you could be madcha b'dochek that the Gemara is only speaking about where, meaning v'im isa diyesh chiluk b'zeh ayesh shiuram. If there is a chiluk, then what's the shiur? Even though you could say the Gemara is only talking about where you write ksav beinoni, but if you write ksav katan, maybe you would say that the requirement is less. Nevertheless, it seems like the Mishna Berura is coming out that don't say the Gemara is talking about when you're writing an average script, but taka, if you're writing a small script, you don't have to leave as much space. It seems like the Mishna Berura is inclined to say not like that, that the requirement to leave space is irrespective of the size of the letters you're writing. Let's see further in the Ramah Haga. Sheyu gam heim mukafim gvil. Not only to leave space for the top of the lamed, but that the top of the lamed should be surrounded with parchment. Weiter. Ulamata kishir chaf v'nun. Below, you need like the shir, I assume, of a faya. Like a shir of a final chaf and a final pshuta. Pshuta means a final letter because it's straight as opposed to the regular letters which are kafaf. So let's see diagram 2. Diagram 2. Let's say you want to leave on the bottom line to be able to write a final chaf and put space under the final chaf. Says the Mishna Berura kuf mem pshuta va'oid mashna, and a little bit more like kafas gavilam, so that it could be surrounded by parchment. But Tamachazah, the reason for all this, Kedei shekish yizdame loy lekasvam sheyiyaloi makom lazeh. Even though Rabbi said, even if you know for sure you're not going to be writing a final chaf on that line, but you need to leave space because if it would happen that you would need to write it, you need to be able to accommodate that. Some say you need to leave even more than the gag of a lamed. How much? Kedei chatzi tziporen, like a half a fingernail. So let's check this out. Look in diagram 3. So the cam scam took out the lamed. You could see it very faintly. See where my icon is? There's the lamed. And above the lamed, some say you need a requirement of a half a fingernail. You see, this gentleman was kind enough to permanently put his finger in the picture, and half of his fingernail is the requirement lechatchila. So, but again, that's only lechatchila. Fine. Weiter. Uvitchilasan v'soifan ein tzarich laniach. In the beginning and the end, you don't have to leave klal, anything at all. So what is that talking about? Are you ready? Look. In Nun, you see, you could write at the very beginning, Shema. No space is needed in the beginning, no indentation. Now, obviously, you need a mashahu so that it's mukaf kavil, but there's no requirement of, let's say, chatzi tzipara, and there's no indentation required. Says the Mishna Berura kuf memav klal rak mashu la kafas vilan, just a tiny bit to surround it with parchment. Okay, siv katan Okay, weiter in the Rama. Haga. Miu nagu asayfim laniach tzas b'tchila v'sayf. The minhag is to leave a little bit in the beginning and the end. So, like in diagram 5, you see they leave a little bit in the beginning and the end. Says the Mishna Berura, a little bit more than just being surrounded by parchment. Some are machmir, like in diagram 6, that you should be able to, you need in the beginning of the klaf, in order to roll the whole parsha like a mezuzah. I'm not sure what he's referring to because the way we roll apparently is from the end to the beginning. So I guess you need to roll it, you need to put extra space over here in the beginning so that when you roll it, you could then sort of surround the whole thing with empty parchment like a mezuzah. Okay, weiter in the Rama. One second. Okay. V'tzarch lohaniach ben kol teva v'teva kimloi ois. Between each word, there has to be a letter of spacing. So let's see this diagram, number 8. Let's see between v'haya over here and ba'aretz over here, you need a lettering of space between the lines. You see, this is one line, this is another line, and in between there should be a space of a letter. But that's not what we're talking about yet. Right now we're talking about you need to put between each word like an ois of space. Oh, I'm in the wrong picture. That's why. You don't want to say vidibarta bam. It's 2 words, vidibarta with a space. Now we could get a yud in here. You see, we could get that yud in there. Says Mishna Berura, what letter? Ois katana shu yud. It's not any letter. You don't have to get like a resh in there, right? You only have to get a yud in there. But the Yevid ain't lifsa alam ke neres keteva achas. But the Yevid is not puzzle unless it looks like one word. Latinoik doy chacham v'loy tipish. Okay, weiter. V'chein bein hashitim. Likewise, between the lines, Rama says, kamloi shita. There should be a line of space. That's what we saw in diagram 8. Says Mishna Berura, Yesharim dein tzarch laniach ela be Sefer Torah. To have a line of space is only needed by Sefer Torah. That's what the Seifrim are knowing. They're not so careful about this. Fine. Uvein kol ois, between each letter, kimloi chud hasara. All that is needed is like a hair's breadth. Kamay b'Sefer Torah, kamay she'yizbar b'Tur, Yeridea. So for tefillin and mezuzos, all you need is a hair's breadth between the letters. Let's see how the cam scanner is going to deal with that. Here, Baderach. All right, I think they left the hair space over here. Go cam scammer, right? I think, I'm not sure actually. But over here they did, here they did. Yeah, it looks okay. Shitas of Kaftan Kufmem down. Shita Visham in Sark Laniach Ela B'Sefer Torah. Okay, that we did. Chod Asara Kufmem Hey. Haidarak Lecharchila. But the Yeve in Lifsal. That's Lecharchila. There should be just a hair's breath in between. But the Yeve is not going to be possible. Can't nearest Teva Chalukah L'Shtayim unless the word looks like it's broken into 2. Chumash and Esbarach Kolzeh B'Yordea B'Sim Meish Ayin Tal Indian Sefer Torah. Me'at. Okay, let's finish up the Sif. You should also leave a little space between one pasuk and the next. Now that is interesting. So I don't have this on the diagram. Aval Hamagin Avram b'shem Kamachron v'Agor b'Yurech V'Yur the Insach Laniach Cholak Yosmi Ben Teva L'Teva B'Emtza Pasuk. Wow! Even though the Ramah says that you should make a little bit of a bigger space at the end of a pasuk, which, by the way, this would make life a lot easier for a Baal Koreh, right? If at the end of every pasuk, I don't think we do that. And the Magen Avram, in the name of many Achronim, the Gra, Paskin, you don't have to. I don't think Sefer Torah have a bigger space between pasuk and pasuk. I believe not, but I wonder if there's such a chumrah to have a Sefer Torah with a bigger space between the psukim. Okay, Marv Rabbi Sai, great to see everyone. I believe this Mishna Berura is very helpful. These diagrams just makes it clear, and I wish everyone a.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.